This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How's everybody doing out there on this wonderful Tuesday in Tuscaloosa? Hope you guys are doing well. I'm sitting here in downtown Northport, just a mile or two away from the Bryant Stadium. This is the Joe Gaither Show. Watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. You're listening to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on Amazon. I appreciate everybody who subscribed, rated, and reviewed the show, jumped in and found us on the social media machines. You can find us at Joe Gaither 6 for all your social media needs. Send me a comment, question, query, and complaint, or your friend request, whatever you want to do on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, whatever you like, at Joe Gaither 6 for your social media needs. We're a proud part of the BamaCentral Broadcasting Network. We have our friends Blue Collar Unplugged, who just put out a new episode today. Matthew Gibson, Blake Byler, and Jacob Pickle getting you ready, getting you all taken care of on the Alabama basketball front. So make sure you subscribe to our friends Blue Collar Unplugged, and you can check out their episode that just dropped right there on BamaCentral.com. We, of course, are your Alabama Crimson Tide home, your Sports Illustrated home for the Alabama Crimson Tide. You can follow us at BamaCentral SI, at Alabama Crimson Tide on Sports Illustrated on Facebook, and at BamaCentral on the X machine if you want to follow us there. All right, so what are we going to do today? It's Tuesday. We're having a lot of fun. We're getting ready for tomorrow's basketball game, Alabama and Georgia. Alabama hitting the road for the first time since its 20-point loss to Tennessee in Knoxville. I want to talk about Tennessee athletics. I want to talk about Mark Sears. I want to talk about Ryan Williams. I want to talk about 8A, and I want to talk about SEC midweek basketball. So we got a lot to get into. Of course, you can jump in and join us at Joe Gaither 6 if you want to leave a comment, question, query, and complaint. But let's start with Alabama's big old rival, the Tennessee Vols. All right. Right up the road, a year ago, Tennessee fired Jeremy Pruitt, 2 years ago now. They just finished, Josh Heupel just finished his second season. Jeremy Pruitt gets fired. They have a whole NCAA scandal. You're paying money to players, illegal payments, $60,000 in McDonald's bags. Jeremy and his wife giving money to recruits. Okay, Jeremy Pruitt, you are slapped with a big old show cause, a 1-year suspension. Tennessee was given a light punishment, but Tennessee was commended for its transparency. All right, fast forward 1 year later, Pat Forty of Sports Illustrated. Pat Forty, you can read about it at si.com. Sports Illustrated, Pat Forty has uncovered or announced or reported that the NCAA is back in Knoxville. The NCAA is back in Knoxville, and they've been poking around Nico Iamaleava. We're going to have to get to know his name pretty well. The backup quarterback, the now starting quarterback for Tennessee, is seemingly at the center of a new NCAA NIL scandal. And look, from one perspective, it's always fun to make fun of Tennessee. It's always fun to cheer and rah, Tennessee. They're low down, they dirty, they some snitches. You know, the viral video from way back in the day, WVUA. We know that. Tennessee, we can't stand them. But on the other hand, what in the world is the NCAA doing? You've got two different perspectives here. First, the Alabama perspective. Of course, you want to make fun of Tennessee. You enjoy all of their shortcomings, all of their pitfalls. You enjoyed it last year when they came out to some degree. A lot of people wanted Jeremy Pruitt to be hired here in Tuscaloosa. The findings of last year's investigation circumvented that and basically ensured that Jeremy Pruitt was not going to return to college football anytime soon. But it sounds like Tennessee and their NIL entities, they've got two different NIL entities up in Knoxville, and it sounds like both of them are in trouble. It sounds like 6 different sports are kind of in the crosshairs of Tennessee. Let's see if I can find the Spire Group and Boost Her Club. Both are at the center of kind of what in the world NCAA is looking at Tennessee's Vice Chancellor and Athletic Director Danny White. We have great leadership at Spire and at the Booster Club. We think we are one of the leaders nationally in terms of our NIL efforts, and our fan base, being the best in the country, have been phenomenal at supporting both clubs. Reportedly, around 4,000 people are supporting these supporting these two NIL clubs, and it sounds like the NCAA is kind of coming after Tennessee now. Look, NIL has been around for 2.5 years, almost 3 years now, and no one knows the rules. No one knows what is real, what is fair, what is on the up and up. Look, this is now the second case that that the NCAA has basically gotten to a point of we're about to give out sanctions. You think back about a month ago, so 3-4 weeks ago, Florida State got in trouble. They had a booster, or they had, an assistant coach drive a prospect, Amarius Mims, who ultimately ended up at Georgia, drive a prospect to an NIL meeting. And there can't be any sort of crossover between the coaching staffs and NIL. What a crock of hooey that is, NCAA. So Florida State gets in trouble. Their coach gets a little 3-game suspension, and they have a reduction of scholarships and a reduction of what they can do on the recruiting visits. NCAA is chasing its tail. They don't know what the rules are. There are no rules. Look, I know we want to get all on board with let's slam Tennessee. Let's bury them under the prison. We don't want Tennessee ever to be successful. And a lot of it roots in the Albert Means kind of case from the 2000s. The secret witness that was Philip Fulmer giving up the University of Alabama over Albert Means, and thus Alabama goes into its dark ages. The mics and everything, everything unravels, and we know where we are from there. The rivalry has just continued ever since. Philip Fulmer basically has been a lightning rod, a pillar in this rivalry to, stir up the BS, stir up the who's cheating who, what's real, what's not. There's not a whole lot of information out yet from the current NCAA investigation into Tennessee. What we know is there is allegedly 6 sports at play here, and what we know is Nico Iamaleava, the 5-star quarterback, is kind of the centerpiece. We remember Nico getting his $8 million NIL deal coming out of high school, and yes, those payments were prorated, so it wasn't all $8 million right up front. And Nico Iamaleava did become a spokesperson for a protein company, and we know that he's putting on his pajama pants kind of venture. We know that's kind of his kind of signature is, hey, buy my pajama pants. That's my move. So there is some sort of real NIL at play with Nico Iamaleava, but of course, there's certainly some pay for play when you roll in $8 million. What's a quarterback worth? What's a 5-star quarterback really worth? Is that real NIL? Is it not? You can debate that way if you want. But the fact of the matter is the NCAA has been operating without definitions for the last 2.5 years. And so now they're coming back and saying, oh, Florida State, somebody turns you in. Oh, it sounds like a Georgia Tech assistant coach turns you in on this assistant coach at Florida State driving Amarius Mims to an NIL meeting. Boom, Florida State's burned. It seems like the NCAA is just picking and choosing. What can we go after? Can we chase any sort of power? Can we hold on to any sort of power? Now, you remember last year, they really hammered Jeremy Pruitt. They did not hammer Tennessee as far as a postseason ban. What's up, Joe Will? Joe Will jumping in and joining us on the comments section. I got to get Joe Will in here to tell us about the Senior Bowl here pretty soon. You can follow Joe Will and his coverage. Super Will Sports. Let me throw out that Twitter handle for everybody who's looking for some Senior Bowl coverage. Joe Will is, come on. Super Will Sports. Yeah, I was right. At Super Will Sports, you can find all his Senior Bowl coverage down in Mobile as he is. Yeah, thank you very much. Super Will Sports. I'm going to put that up there. Perfect. You can find all his coverage down there in Mobile. They had the guys measuring out yesterday, and today we'll see about how they end up doing, meeting with the coaches, and getting to the Senior Bowl game, the less important game day on Saturday. Make sure you're following Super Will Sports for all his coverage down there in Mobile. The draft starts in Mobile. But, with Tennessee, The NCAA is just chasing and choosing what they want to go after, what they want to pick. And look, is it fun from my perspective? Is it fun to cheer on and say, "Oh, haha, Tennessee, you're about to get burned"? Yes, for sure, it is. But it's disingenuous because the NCAA doesn't really have any power anymore. They forego the bowl ban last year for Tennessee, which is fine. None of those role players were involved with the Jeremy Pruitt scandal. We're a couple of years removed from that. And so what? Are you going to give Tennessee a bowl ban now with Nico Iamaleava being at the center of this? And I'm not saying that he did anything wrong because we don't know what they did. We don't know what they did, and we're going to wait on more information to come out. What I do want to say is the response. The response from Tennessee has been very, very, very strong, and I'm frankly impressed with it. Tennessee, after last year, Chancellor Donna Plowman basically has come out and written a response letter to Charlie Baker, the NCAA president. And she writes, "The leaders of intercollegiate athletics owe it to student athletes and their families to establish clear rules and to act in their best interests. Instead, 2.5 years of vague, contradictory NCAA memos, emails, and guidance about name, image, and likeness has created extraordinary chaos that student athletes and institutions are struggling to navigate. In short, the NCAA is failing." So Chancellor Donda puts it right out there in the first paragraph of her letter. Now, she writes basically a 3-page letter to respond to the NCAA and to essentially reprimand them for investigating Tennessee, to reprimand them for their lack of transparency in rules, to reprimand them for essentially coming after whoever they want to, picking and choosing what rules they want to go after, what universities they want to go after. Oh, we're not going after these universities because they're big money makers. Up Tennessee, you're an easy target. I think she's right. I think that Chancellor Plowman is right. As much as we want to make fun of Tennessee, as much as it is easy to go after Alabama's rival, look, there are no rules. Who knows what's on the up and up? And basically, you essentially 2 years ago said, "Oh, you athletes can make money off your name, image, and likeness," and then you didn't make rules as far as pay for play. The rules that we know are, coaches, athletic staffs, they can't be involved with the NIL function. They can't be involved with the collection. We know that's a bunch of hooey. We know that, whether it was, hey, how much you got for 5-star Jimmy Smith? How much you got for 4-star Tyler Jones? Whoever the case may be. Like, there are conversations happening between the athletic facility, the athletic staff, and the athletic, basically the staff, and the NIL entities. There have to be. The NCAA, in my opinion, is just on its last legs. And here you go. Think about what happened with Michigan this year. It's not NIL related, but the NCAA basically uncovered the sign stealing scandal. And what did it really do for Michigan? What did it really do to Michigan? Nothing. They fired Connor Stallions. They fired an assistant coach, and they still went to the college football playoffs, and they beat Alabama, and they beat Washington, and they're national champions. The college football playoff does not have any sort of real relation with the NCAA. The NCAA could have said, "Jim Harbaugh, you're suspended." But college football playoff doesn't care. They're two different entities. So what do we really see over the last handful of years? What does it really gain you to respect the NCAA? Let's think about Will Wade. Will Wade, I'm going to make a strong-ass offer to whatever recruit it was. $180,000 is what they were talking about. He was caught on a wiretap, FBI wiretap, and chooses to not cooperate with LSU, to not cooperate with the NCAA investigation. And what? Does Will Wade end up getting fired anyways? Yes, he does, but it takes a lot longer to fire him, and Will Wade bounces right back on his feet and is coaching NCAA basketball. Basically, he gave a big old middle finger to the NCAA, and yes, it ended up getting him fired, but he basically said, "Hey, come prove it." I think from a college perspective, wherever you are, whether you're at the University of Alabama, whether you're at the University of Tennessee, University of Florida State, who just got burned, Florida State needs to appeal these punishments. Tennessee, this letter of kind of response, this basically, hey, bleep you, we did everything correct last year. You said, Tennessee, NCAA, you said that we, Tennessee, 6 months ago, are the shining example of how to handle an investigation. Chancellor Donda basically writes that Tennessee was applauded for its forthcoming, for its forthright nature in the Jeremy Pruitt scandal. All right, Jeremy Pruitt, you cheated. You gave a bunch of money, a bunch of McDonald's money bags to different recruits. Here's everything that we know. Here's all the evidence. Now, was Tennessee motivated to do that in order to save the buyout on Jeremy Pruitt? Certainly. They were motivated to prove that his firing was with cause. So there was a little motivation, a little selfish, intrinsic motivation from the Tennessee perspective that, hey, yeah, we want to be forthright and transparent to show that this was all Jeremy Pruitt. But now it seems like, was it all Jeremy Pruitt? Or was Tennessee, or were the powers that be at Tennessee, did they just ignore all the rules? Or is it a case of the NCAA not having clear rules? And if it can happen at Tennessee, can it happen at Alabama? Can it happen at Auburn? Can it happen at other major universities? I think absolutely, yes, 100%. And that's something that Alabama fans and Alabama people, supporters need to be aware of when they're talking about this case that's about to probably hit the fan pretty quickly. It sounds like the NCAA is right on the verge of being ready to announce some punishments for Tennessee. And when this happens, look, from an Alabama perspective, don't sit there and say, well, you should have given them the death penalty. Well, you should have punished them 10 times more or 3 times more, whatever the case may be. You didn't go far enough, because we're going to find out what this is all revolving around. And if it's as simple as what happened at Florida State, where an assistant football coach drove a recruit to an NIL meeting, come on, harmless, right? If it's as simple as that, now it sounds like it's more serious, then look, if they went after Tennessee, if they went after Florida State, they can go after whoever they want to. The NCAA just picks and chooses, and that's my biggest issue with the NCAA is when they pick and choose, who they pick and choose, how they enforce the rules, and what they decide to do. Look, we haven't seen any sort of movement on tampering. You want to shut down this kind of NIL impropriety that's going on in the college athletic landscape. You want to shut it down? Shut down the tampering. Our man, Caden Proctor, basically told you a week or two ago that he was tampered with by Iowa. Was there an NIL deal at play there? We don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to say. But what we do know is what Caden Proctor said. He said, they contacted me during the middle of the SEC season, told me to keep my head up. Look, that is straight up tampering. And so there's all kinds of malfeasance. There's all kinds of nefarious actions in college athletics today, whether it be in the NIL sphere, whether it be in tampering sphere, whether it be in dealing with transfer portal. And so for the NCAA to just pick and choose, look, I know it's a lot of fun to get after Tennessee. And if you want to get after Tennessee in the comments, you're welcome to do that. But I struggle to get behind it, because I think the NCAA is just kind of random at who they try to go after and when they try to go after a program. And yeah, Tennessee's in the crosshairs right now, but when or what will it take for another school, a school that maybe you care about, to be in the crosshairs as well? Let's keep it rolling today. That's kind of the scandal part of our program, and I appreciate everybody jumping in and joining us, watching us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Joe Gaither 6 and at BamaCentral on the YouTube channel. Let's talk about Mark Sears real quick, because Mark Sears yesterday was given his 3rd SEC Player of the Week award. We hit on that just very briefly, but today he was. Coach Oates commented on the fact that Mark Sears was left off the Bob Cousy Finalist Award and the Jerry West Finalist Award. Look, is Mark Sears one of the 10 best players in the country right now, especially 10 best guards? You got to look on the eye test. I understand. I watch Mark Sears each and every week, and I think there's no way he's really that good. But at the end of every game, he's sitting there with 21, with 25, with 31. He's sitting there with 18. He's sitting there with a very good assist-to-turnover ratio. He's a really good college basketball player. A really good college basketball player. Is he one of the 10 best guards in the country? I'm not sure, but here are the other 10. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, here are the other 10 guards that were named finalists for the Cousy Award. You got Trey Alexander out of Creighton, L.J. Cryer out of Houston, John L. Davis, R.J. Davis, Boogie Ellis, Caleb Love out of Arizona, Kevin McCullough Jr., Antonio Reeve, Tyson Walker, and Jacoby Walter. All right. I mean, these are good players. It's not like Mark Sears was left off for a bunch of bums. But Mark Sears, with his 20 points per game, his 43% make from three-point line. Look, he's making more. His three-point percentage is second best out of all 11 of these guys. His points per game is second best out of all these guys, right behind R.J. Davis on points per game and right behind John L. Davis on three-point percentage. He's making 85% from the free throw line. That's good enough for middle of the pack. He's got right at 4 assists per game, which is third, fourth, fifth in the pack. 4 rebounds per game, about fifth in the pack as well. He's right there in the middle of the pack, steals per game. And so my man's is right on par with the other, with the 10 finalists. He's playing 30 minutes a game. He played, 38 minutes on Wednesday against the Auburn Tigers. And so, look, I know when you put the eye test on, Mark Sears doesn't look like an NBA player. He doesn't look like somebody who's going to, be drafted, be a lottery pick. Could he be an NBA player? Man, that three-point percentage will get you a look for sure. It's the height. He's only 6 foot, 6'1". But the way that Mark plays, the way that he manipulates his speed, manipulates himself with the ball in his hands. He's able to still get to the hole, get to the bucket very, very efficiently and very effectively, despite being 6'1", 6'2". Do I think that he is a top 10, a top 5 player, top 10 player in the country? No, probably not. But he's definitely on par with these other guards who have made, have made it the Bob Cousy Finalist Award. You've got a couple of months left in the season, and maybe, you never know. Obviously, individual awards are one thing, and these guys are looking for SEC regular season title, SEC tournament title, and a deep run in March. So Mark has been he's been the best player for Alabama by far this year. Been a lot of fun to watch this year. I get a little bit why the disrespect. You see number 24 team in the country. You see the record every time he's played against Purdue, against Creighton, against Arizona. Not really that good as a team, from a team standpoint, taking losses. But you beat Auburn this past week. You're number 1 in the SEC. Look, I believe that these voters who decide finalists, once it gets to the end of the year, once you see the final, get the entire sample size that is Mark Sears' season, you're going to say, oh, man, we should have had him as a finalist for these awards, both being left off the Bob Cousy Award and the Jerry West Award. So maybe that'll serve for a little motivation for Mark Sears going forward the rest of the year. 2 more topics before we hit the SEC midweek slate, and we want to jump in with the SEC midweek slate. We'll conclude with that. You can let us know who your picks are to win the midweek games for men's basketball if you want to, right there in the comments. Let's talk about Ryan Williams real quick. Ryan Williams, obviously, last Wednesday recommits to the University of Alabama. And everybody loses their minds. Great, big old day. We will see next Friday if Ryan Williams ultimately signs with the University of Alabama. I expect him to do that. I don't expect any more surprises from the Ryan Williams camp at this point. But I want to give Ryan Williams a shout out, as on Tuesday he becomes the first player in the state of Alabama history, the first player to go back-to-back Mr. Football. He was Alabama Sports Writers Association Player of the Year, back-to-back Mr. Football, first time in 42 years. First time in 42 years a player goes back-to-back. So, look, it's wild. The man is 16 years old. He should be going into his senior year, but instead he's reclassified and coming to the University of Alabama. He's rated as the number one prospect in the state as a junior. The kid caught 71 passes this past year for Saraland, 1,320 yards, 19 touchdowns. He ran for another 270 yards. He threw a touchdown pass, and he returned a punt and a kickoff for touchdowns as well this year for the Saraland Spartans. Now, unfortunately, Saraland came up a little short in the 6A state championship, losing to Clay Chalkfield. Ryan Williams won 6A the year prior, so he's got a state championship. He's got 2 Mr. Footballs. He's got the Gatorade Player of the Year. This man, look, if you weren't convinced that the hype was worth it, surely. I mean, what's it going to take? The hype is worth it around Ryan Williams. I know a lot of people were a little sick of the social media drama, and yes, he is a little bit of a troll. He is a little bit of I'm going to enjoy poking other fan bases. I think that's great. Honestly, that's the new age athlete. And for someone to embrace and look, all the kids are living on social media anyways these days. For him to be living on social media and to also be excelling athletically, also be excelling kind of personally, it seems like he's showing you that he's handling the hype, he's handling the business, he's handling kind of the fame very, very well for a 16, 17-year-old kid. I would not have. That's why I was not blessed with his otherworldly athleticism. So I'm really excited and really looking forward to seeing him step on the campus as a summer enrollee and really see how quickly he can impact this Alabama offense. Last thing before we get to SEC midweek action, and we appreciate everybody watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, subscribing on BamaCentral, on Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. A-Day. Alabama's A-Day was announced today. A lot of people have been asking me about A-Day, and it has been announced for January, February, March, April 13th. 4/13, A-Day will commence. It'll be right there about probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It'll be a free event. And I'm really looking forward to A-Day this year. I've been looking forward to A-Day. I looked forward to A-Day last year due to kind of a lot of the newness that you saw, the quarterback battles, and a lot of the new coordinators that you had working themselves in. I am looking forward to A-Day even more this year because obviously the newness makes me so excited. You got to see the new coordinators, Ryan Grubb, and you got to see Kane Womack, how their systems play out. You got to see some of the Washington players. Will Parker Brailsford already be showing out at center? Will Jeremy Bernard be playing X receiver or not? How will these guys take to the new system? It's going to be a lot of fun. Will you be at A-Day? You think back to A-Day 2007 and what was it, 105,000 people in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I think you're going to see a similar response this year. And so for everybody who's thinking about getting to A-Day, I say get to A-Day as soon as possible. I say get there early. Make sure your plans to arrive to the stadium early because I think it's going to be a bit of a madhouse trying to show support for Kalen DeBoer. Look, you saw a big groundswell of support for Yay, Alabama. 1,000 new members jumped into Yay, Alabama in the first 7 days of Kalen DeBoer. And Coach DeBoer has basically taken momentum. Look, we all know it stinks to lose. It stinks to lose Caleb Downs and Caden Proctor and several other transfers that you lost, but you've gotten the momentum on your side with the coaching hires and with some of these recruiting wins, Austin Mack, Parker Brailsford, Jeremy Bernard, and of course with Ryan Williams. You've got another 7 days or so. Next Wednesday is National Signing Day. We'll make the 2024 class official, and then you'll turn right over to 25. He's been hammering the recruiting trail very, very hard. He's been killing it on the recruiting trail. I don't know if he's spent a single night in Tuscaloosa since he was introduced that Saturday. So will you support the Crimson Tide and come to A-Day? And what do you expect? Do you expect to see, a well-oiled machine or a work in progress? I think that A-Day is going to be a lot of fun, and it has the makings of being a great, great weekend here in Tuscaloosa, because not only Alabama football will be playing and will be playing for free, but Alabama baseball will be hosting Arkansas. They'll be playing Arkansas at 4 o'clock on that Saturday. They'll be in the middle of a 3-game set. And if softball is more your thing, Alabama softball is going to be taking on Texas A&M at 3:30. So make your plans to be at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Get to Bryant-Denny early. Get excited about football. Show Coach DeBoer that you are on board with the new regime and you're supporting the new regime. And then bounce on over to Sewell Thomas Stadium or to the Rhodes House, to Rhodes Stadium, and see your favorite Diamond sport in action. Supporting. Look, you'll be right in the middle of conference play. You'll go from an exhibition event to an event that actually cares. Probably won't be a very expensive ticket for softball or baseball. You'll be able to get in there and enjoy your Alabama Crimson Tide. Have a full day of Alabama athletics here at the Capstone, and from there you're basically going right into summer break. You're going right into summer break as May happens, and we'll have to be we will be all over baseball and softball as they get into their postseason action. But A-Day kind of signifies maybe the end of a Tuscaloosa athletic calendar. We'll obviously hope for the softball and baseball programs to host regional events, so there will be more in town. But A-Day kind of serves as that rubber stamp on April 13th. On April 13th, that free event. We hope to see you there. You'll be able to follow it at BamaCentral.com. We'll have all our friends over at A-Day. We'll have friends over at baseball and at softball as well, because it's going to be a lot of fun over there. So hopefully you are able to make it. Hopefully you're able to make some plans. April 13th. I know a lot of people have been asking about when A-Day is, and now it's officially on the calendar for April 13th. All right, let's get out of here for the day with one more topic, and we want to talk about SEC basketball as a new midweek slate kicks off tonight. Actually kicks off fairly soon. At 5:30 p.m., South Carolina goes to Thompson-Boling Arena and takes on Tennessee. Only 2 games on this Tuesday, and then we'll have the other, 4 games. The other 4 games on the Wednesday slate. So look, South Carolina takes on Tennessee. If you're from an Alabama perspective, you're hopeful the Gamecocks can give you a little help. They already gave you some help last week by beating Kentucky at home. Going to be a lot harder to beat Tennessee on the road, but South Carolina, they're showing to be much better than originally expected this year. I think South Carolina was predicted to finish last in the SEC. They were going to finish probably middle of the pack, somewhere middle of the pack. I don't expect them to beat Tennessee today, but you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe Lamont Parrish can get those guys ready to play over in Thompson-Boling Arena, who Vanderbilt almost beat. Vanderbilt challenged. We'll say that challenged Tennessee over the weekend at home. Tennessee was able to come out victorious. We'll see if that challenge, if Tennessee carries some momentum forward, or if they still are in a little bit of a lull and South Carolina is able to beat them. And then tonight, 7:30, Mississippi State is at Ole Miss, the Egg Bowl of basketball. Look, I think Mississippi State has shown themselves to be a real good team, a team that nobody wants to play. They obviously beating Auburn this past weekend at home. It's going to be a lot harder going into Oxford to win, but I like Mississippi State tonight. I like Tennessee and I like Mississippi State on the Tuesday slate. For Wednesday, you've got Florida at Kentucky. I think Kentucky's going to handle business at home. You've got Arkansas is at Missouri. Look, that's a battle. I know Missouri hasn't won a game in the SEC, and Arkansas has had a pretty terrible season. A lot of internal turmoil apparently going on over in Fayetteville. Here's a chance for you, Missouri Tigers. Get your first SEC win of the season. If I'd have told you, Missouri fans, that your first SEC win of the year was going to come against Arkansas, I think you would have looked at me with 3 heads at the beginning of the year. But your chance, this is a big chance for you this week to get your first SEC win of the year at home against the Arkansas Razorbacks. And then the Vanderbilt Commodores go over to Auburn. This is going to be a get-right game for the Auburn Tigers, obviously losing 2 games last week to Tennessee, or to Alabama and to Mississippi State. Both road games, a chance for Bruce Pearl to bounce back. Look, I hit it just for a single second on Monday. Bruce Pearl, after the game, after the loss to Mississippi State, saying, oh, we've got some guys on our team that just can't shoot or are struggling shooting the basketball, and we just need them to stop shooting the basketball. What kind of a philosophy is that from a head coaching standpoint? Look, I get that might be the right answer. That might be the public answer. Hey, guys, Billy, Katie Johnson, you might want to shoot less, maybe. We want to get the ball to Janai Broom, who's shooting better. We want to get the ball on the block. That might be the answer, but you don't say that in public. What a way to shoot your team's confidence right in the foot. Just say, hey, guys, I know y'all are really struggling, but maybe you should just quit. Maybe you should just stop. Look, sometimes I struggle on this show. The only way to get better is to keep going, keep practicing. Come on. It's the exact opposite of what Nate Oates would be saying. Oh, Aaron Estrada, you've struggled in SEC play a little bit. I need you to keep shooting. Don't turn down an open shot. He said the same thing to Rylan Griffin. He said it to Grant Nelson. He said it he said it year after year after year after. Look, we're in a fifth year of Coach Nate Oates, and every year he says, "Oh, if a guy turns down an open shot, I put him on the bench." You have to keep shooting. And so, Bruce Pearl, this is a chance for your guys to get right. Vanderbilt at Auburn. And then last but not least, Alabama takes on Georgia. Let's see. Alabama takes on Georgia. Well, my man Blake Byler put out the line already. Where was it? Oh, come on, Blake Byler. At Blake Byler 45. You can see. Did you not put it out? I thought you did, sir. Anyways, Alabama is a favorite against Georgia tomorrow. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Thank you. An hour ago, at Blake Byler 45 tweeted out Alabama is 6.5-point favorite against the Georgia Bulldogs. And Nate Oates basically acknowledging 2 years ago, Alabama went over to Athens and played like absolute poo-poo. Not good at all. And lost, gave Georgia its only conference win of the season. I know Georgia football school, everybody gets up to play the Georgia Bulldogs in football, Kirby Smart, XYZ, and it's been a huge matchup every single time the schools have met on the gridiron in the last 10 years. Yeah, it's been a huge matchup. I know basketball doesn't carry the same weight, but here's the deal. Here's the deal, guys. Throw the Alabama perspective. Alabama has put themselves into a brilliant position through one-third of the way through the season. I know last Monday I was losing my mind about, oh, man, this team cannot win the SEC regular season after losing to Tennessee. They're clearly not as good as Tennessee. They're clearly not as good as Auburn, as Kentucky, blah, 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 this team, blah, blah, blah. No, a week later, Alabama is in really, really good position. Look, you would have wanted to beat Tennessee, of course, but you have a half-game lead over the Vols right now. And the best, you have to beat teams you're supposed to beat. You have to hold serve. That Tennessee is coming to Tuscaloosa here in a month and change from now. First Saturday, I think in January, February, March. In March, first Saturday in March. You have to hold serve by beating teams like Georgia. Georgia, better team than they have been. A second-year coach. They're playing better. But on paper, Alabama is a much better team. Well, where are the daggum Georgia Bulldogs in KenPom? I know we sometimes get upset about KenPom not being a true ranking. Georgia is number 71 in KenPom. And your Alabama Crimson Tide are 8 in Crimson. So this is a team that you should not be messing around with. You shouldn't be messing around with on Wednesday. It's at 5:30. So look, you guys are going to have to turn it on at work. I know, obviously, it's not a home game, so I'm not going to berate you for not getting to Coleman Coliseum because it's over in Stegman Coliseum. It's in the Eastern Time Zone. You're going to have to turn it on at the end of your workday. Flip it on and maybe have a little later dinner, enjoying hopefully an Alabama Crimson Tide win. It's maybe Mark Sears is going to be motivated by being left off the Bob Cousy and Jerry West award list. Mark Sears earning his third SEC Player of the Week award this past week. Want to go ahead and give a shout out to Luisa Blanco as well. Luisa Blanco, we hit her up just at the very beginning of the program yesterday. Luisa Blanco was named SEC Gymnast of the Week for her great performance this past weekend over in Gainesville. Luisa Blanco winning the all-around, and basically it was her routine on the balance beam at the end of the meet that sealed the deal, that won the event, that won the meet for Alabama and kept them in prime position to win their SEC regular season. So as we get out of here for the day, we want to encourage you to follow BamaCentral.com. Follow my friend Blake Byler 45 and Katie Wyndham _. They're doing great work covering all things Alabama Crimson Tide. Follow us at BamaCentral on the X Machine, at BamaCentral SI on Instagram, and at Alabama Crimson Tide on Sports Illustrated on Facebook. We had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys today, talking about Tennessee, really how they're relating with the NCAA, talking about Mark Sears, Ryan Williams, highlighting A-Day just a little bit, and the SEC midweek schedule. If you want to connect with me, you can at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the program on wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on Amazon. Tell a friend about the show and come back and join us tomorrow on the next edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.